account?
He can't sue me. You can't sue for somebody for saying that you're in love with someone else and that they're in love with you. There's no crime in being in love with someone, irrespective of your marital status or otherwise. According to Thomas Markle Jr., Trevor told him that Meghan had a hysterectomy. Meghan has never denied it.
Lady Colin Campbell has been dropping truth bombs all week about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and I am so delighted today that straight out of surgery, she's still here to deliver the truth to outspoken viewers. But let me just set this up before bringing Lady C in and asking a few additional questions, which I think will be very important. Lady C first broke this news on her X account, posting Meghan Markle is clearly in even deeper trouble than anyone thought. When people with official links at governmental level in the United States contact me to tell me that Harry is in love with another woman of his age who is also in love with him, and that Lily was born to a surrogate in Colorado and flown by private jet to California for the handover, so it wasn't the stork or FedEx, and those people are liberals with impeccable traceable identities who espouse many of the sympathies which Harry and Meghan grandstand about so hypocritically, you know these pseudos have been seen through to such an extent that even people who might once have been supporters are now eager to bring their dog and pony show to an end. But Lady C was very careful with her reporting, which continued on her own YouTube channel, insisting that for legal reasons it was important for her to say this does not mean she's accusing Prince Harry of having an affair. Watch.
Well, Harry has met someone who is his age, with whom he is in love, and who, if Harry does have an interest elsewhere, and you notice I say if, and I do so for legal reasons, and you also notice for legal reasons I haven't said that he's having an affair with this woman, nor have I said that he's having a post-marital or anything affair with this woman. And I'm making sure I don't say it for legal reasons. But you can draw your own conclusions. Two adults who are supposedly in love and in their 40s. Well, of course, what do? They certainly wouldn't do anything but speak about Schopenhauer. Of course, that's what they do.
Okay, Lady Colin Campbell. So, what are you saying here? That this is like a close friendship where he's seeking companionship from someone else, and Meghan Markle discovered that the text messages were being swapped?
I am saying that two healthy, vigorous 40-something-year-olds in love would never resort to carnality. Oh no, of course not. They would stay on the highest planes of philosophy, discussing the relative merits of Kant versus Schopenhauer. And I think you can draw your own conclusions as to where I'm coming from when I say something like that, because because this is the United Kingdom. For legal reasons, if you accuse somebody who is married of having a sexual affair outside of their marriage, that can be regarded as defamatory. The old standard of the person on the London omnibus kicks in terms of the reputation in terms of anything sexual. So I'm just covering myself, having provided the information that I was given, which I actually was absolutely stunned to receive. And I tell you, I didn't invite it. It came to me totally unexpectedly, and it came through very, very reputable, provable, liberal Democrat sources in the United States, which also tells me that Harry and Meghan have blotted their copy within the Democrat Party in the United States. Because this is something that, I mean, why was I chosen to be told? Well, I know I was chosen to be told because they knew that I would be able to check them out and I would go with it if once I found out that they were genuine sources. But it's and these are people who have witnessed what's going on. And as I say, they're not Republicans, they're not anybody who's, they're not right wing sort of fanatics. These are liberal Democrats in the United States with with governmental connections and official connections, which were it was very easy for me to check them out because they are really very reputable, very easily checked out people. And of course, I gave them my word of honor that I would not uh, reveal their identities. But it's, I mean, so I mean, I don't know what you would do in this situation, but I thought it was extremely credible. And I mean, the mere fact that had they been dyed in the wool Republicans, you might have thought, but they are absolutely fully paid up Democrats. And that already gives you some indication of the fact that Meghan and Harry have blotted their copy in terms of the Democrat Party in the United States as well. And that Meghan's ambitions to exploit the Democrat Party in the United States will amount to nothing because people see through her, irrespective of what her professed political leanings are.
Are you worried, Lady C, given that he now seems to have given up on his court battle with the Daily Mail, although we do not have formal confirmation that he is not going to appeal the ruling, but it would be a fool's errand, that is for sure. Are you concerned, Lady C, about the potential for Prince Harry to sue you in a British court? If you want more hard-hitting Harry and Meghan coverage like this with the double standards called out, hit subscribe right now and turn on the notifications. Dan Wood and Outspoken has no spin, no bias, and no censorship.
How can he sue me? He can't sue me. This is precisely why I have made the point that I'm not saying that he's been having an affair. He can't sue me. You can't sue for somebody for saying that you're in love with someone else and that they're in love with you. There's no crime in being in love with someone, irrespective of your marital status or otherwise. There's nothing defamatory about it. Also, if Harry were stupid enough to sue me, he would have to establish a loss. Harry doesn't have a reputation to salvage. So he'd have to establish that I had somehow damaged his reputation. Well, he and Meghan have already damaged his reputation irretrievably. I'm not at all worried about it. But I believe in erring on the side of caution. So I have imparted the information that I was given in such a way that it would reveal what was going on while also making sure that I am not open to anything untoward. Let's put it like that.
Lady C, we have also discussed over many years a topic that the mainstream media will just not touch, and it is the Meghan Markle surrogacy scandal. These same contacts gave you new information on that story too. Again, to put this into context before we discuss it, this is what you revealed on your Lady Colin Campbell YouTube channel.
Lilibet was definitely carried and birthed by a surrogate from the state of Colorado, transferred to Montecito by private jet. It was all pre-arranged, and NDAs were signed by all who were present, and I'm not going to go into any further detail. But this information does go into considerably further detail, but I'm not going to go into it. Interesting. Now, there have been attention drawn in various quarters to the fact that the birth certificate, that Lily's birth certificate, is a Colorado birth certificate. But up to now, nobody that has state connections has actually come out and made a bold assertion.
And Lady C also explained more about the information she has been given. Watch.
I will continue. The infamous video of Meghan at a hospital setting, twerking to music with a supposed 9-month belly look was completely fake, a total setup. Then they have various other opinions and explanations, which I do not think it would be judicious to go into at this point. Now, I need to say, for legal reasons, I am not asserting that this happened. I am simply informing you that people of position and influence and respectability who are very checkable, and I have checked them out thoroughly. They exist. They have very verifiable positions. They have excellent connections, including officially. This is the information I have been given.
This channel provides news reporting, commentary, criticism, and analysis based on publicly available information. All images, video clips, and other materials belong to their respective copyright owners and are used where appropriate for commentary.
Now, as you know, the royal community very divided on this story. Brittany of the Royal News Network responding, "I've been seeing speculation that Lilibet was born in Colorado, citing her birth certificate number 105 as indicating she was born in the Centennial State rather than the Golden State. That was actually true until 1996. Now California's number is 105 while Colorado's is 106. You can see that other Californian-based celebrities all have 105 in their children's birth certificates. I always like to double-check things myself, and I thought I would share the results. So in conclusion, just for the record, Lilibet was born in California in 2021. Lady C, your response?
Well, I have actually covered this on my channel previously because there have been changes, and I was just simply repeating what I was told. But if you actually listen very carefully, I don't think they actually said that Lily was born in California. They didn't necessarily say, and I just picked this up while listening to your thing, actually. I'm not sure that they said that Lily was necessarily born in Colorado so much as that she was born to, I think she might have been born to Colorado mother and transported. I'd have to go back and see because I picked up something listening that I hadn't picked up before. But it doesn't really matter whether they are claiming X, Y, or Z. I'm going with their information, and these are people who have government positions, and they are very checkable. and it's but there have been anomalies about uh, the numbers before, and that certain numbers or certain things, but I didn't particularly, but to me the important thing was that Lily was born, whether she was born in Colorado or not, she was born to a Colorado surrogate and transported to Montecito by jet. That's the information I got, and I thought I was just going to repeat it, and some of it might be incorrect, some of it might be correct. I don't really know. And I'm not particularly concerned, because the fact of the matter is this is such a Gordian knot that it's going to be virtually impossible to unravel it without there being errors on all sides. But the fact of the matter is that the mere fact that you have people on an official level in the United States of America who are Democrats getting in touch with somebody like me and telling me that these are issues that they are concerned about, and that in itself tells you something. And I don't think it's something that Harry and Meghan would want to hear. Let's put it that way. I don't
And
know what you.
And Lady C, well, you've also, the other interesting thing that you have reported on this week, and of course, this has been something that has long been suggested, but you went into some detail about it with the comments that Thomas Markle Jr., Meghan's half brother, made. Could you just lay that out in case people didn't see your episode?
Oh, well, according to Thomas Markle Jr., Trevor told him that Meghan had a hysterectomy. Meghan has never denied it. Trevor Engelson has never denied it. I would not expect Thomas Markle Sr. to confirm it, because, as you know, he's a decent man and he loves his daughter. And no matter what has happened, he's not going to be disloyal to his daughter the way his daughter has been to him. So I wouldn't encourage him to behave disloyally. But there's all of the fact that if Meghan had no womb, how was she able to produce two children? And also, how was she able to get pregnant between the births of Archie and Lily and produce a fetus at a stage where, in fact, the remnants of a miscarriage would have been simply liquid, and that supposed solidity was then handed over to Harry for him to scratch the earth under a banyan tree and plant it. Well, banyan tree roots are like this much above the earth. So, I mean, the idea that he could. So, I'm just sort of reminding people that with all of these lies and inconsistencies taking place at the moment, that there are things that need to be cleared up, and it doesn't matter if everybody is not 100% correct in their suppositions. The mere fact that they have grounds for supposition require that Meghan and Harry clear this up. And Meghan and Harry, may I point out, have actually addressed this issue. They addressed it in their Netflix series when to prove that she gave birth to Archie. They aired a clip of a scan of a fetus with all of the identifying features removed. So, in fact, at the very moment that they're providing proof, they are making sure that the proof cannot stand up, because why would, if it were a scan of Archie, why were all of the identifying features removed? It's all of these sort of crazy, anomalous head games. One could almost say mad, mad claims, and it's this is the sort of behavior that drug-addled people who are intent on pulling a fast one publicly will resort to. And they have resorted to it. And I'm simply making the point, if they want to clear it up, they have the means to clear it up. They can clear it up very easily. Every clarification that they embark upon turns out to be yet more befuddlement and yet more mucking around and yet less clarification. So, I mean, the evidence speaks for itself.
Lady C, how disappointed are you by the lack of mainstream media attention on your scoop? Does it matter? Have they been sniffing around? Have they been asking you about it? And I do note that Maureen Callahan, who of course hosts her own independent YouTube show, The Nerve, which is part of Meghan Kelly's wider network, did feature you and your revelations. She is a columnist for the Daily Mail. So I just wonder, is this sneaking ever closer to the mainstream, Lady C, do you think?
I think, Dan, that we all are sufficiently worldly wise to know that the mainstream media dare not touch this with a barge pole. They can only touch this when there is about to be some denouement, some resolution. They can't touch it in the meantime. They can't prod and poke, because if they do, they will end up they will end up with egg on their face. They will also end up being excluded from various privileges that they have. And they also do not want to poke the bear, because they know, and when I say the bear, I mean the royal family, because they know that the royal family is highly embarrassed by this predicament, that the royal family was totally innocent of any wrongdoing and involvement with the creation of all of this speculation. And they're not trying to bring down the royal family. And they understand that if they poke the bear, it could actually end up affecting the prestige of the royal family very detrimentally and very unfairly, because the royal family have found themselves entrapped as a result of Rachel Zane's knowledge as a great legal expert of the law and how the law could be applied in such a way that her daughter and her son could end up being in the line of succession, irrespective of whether they had been delivered by the stork or FedEx or private jet or some other way. So I understand why the reluctance of the mainstream media to get involved. And I don't think the mainstream media will get involved until such time as this is about to be resolved, if ever it is, because my own personal view on this whole matter is that in the next reign, Prince William, by then King William, can simply make a ruling in which, of course, he's allowed to make, and gets the cooperation of a government to mean that Harry and his children cannot accede to the throne because they are not resident here. It's I mean, there would have to be acts of parliament that would have to be amended to achieve that. But that is the neatest, cleanest, and simplest way of dealing with it, so that the children will never have a right to sit on the throne. And Harry, who would bring down the throne if he had a right to sit on it, and people thought he had a chance of sitting on it. So I think that's most likely the neatest, cleanest, and most cost-effective way, let's put it that way, of resolving a problem. Because I know people would like to have a massive ruling that the king has decided in council that he's stripping Harry of his titles and the children are out of the line of succession. That's kind of sky press media rubbish. That's not how things work on a legal level or a governmental level.
No,
And
indeed. All I always point out when I'm talking about these topics, though, Lady C, is that I don't give the mainstream media a pass. They should have been more curious. And why can I say that, Lady C? Well, because I was. And this is edited out of history, but I promise you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. I've just checked. This is still online. People can go and search it for themselves on the Sun's website. I was at the time executive editor of the Sun. Look, published 9:43 p.m. on the 10th of May 2019. The headline: Call the mishap. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry forced to deny claims they stage managed Archie's birth. Buckingham Palace answers 8 queries surrounding the birth of baby Archie. I knew this birth stunk back in 2019. I was part of the mainstream media, which gave me a certain power at that time, Lady C. You know what it's like. The mainstream media has more power to force official answers from Buckingham Palace. And they answered 8 questions to me on the record. Now, of course, at that point, did I know everything I know now? No. But I did actually get them on the record. That's the first time that and first and only time, Buckingham Palace, because remember, at the time, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were managed by courtiers within Buckingham Palace, the first time they've ever acknowledged it. And I know I've spoken about it before, but I'm just making the point that the signs were all there. And if we had journalists who actually wanted to be journalists, rather than just stenographers, which I think is a different job, then we might not be in this situation where such a cover-up has been allowed to take place. And again, I'm not blaming the British royal family, Lady C, but what I'm saying is that journalists should not just ignore this story. There are ways to do it without necessarily going quite as far as you have, but there are ways to do it that start the discussion. But look, Lady C,
and can I make a point?
please.
Had they done their job the way you were doing your job at the time, there's none of what has happened would have
Totally.
happened.
And why did Harry and Meghan want me cancelled? By the way, partly because I was doing my job. Do you see what I mean? And
not partly, totally, because you had a torch and you were shining a light on their dirty dealings and their falsity. And I mean, they don't object to the fact that you're honest. Sorry, they do object to the fact that you're honest. They would like you to be as dishonest as many of the other journalists are.
Yeah, and some of them are just scared. Some of them are just scared. This is the thing. I want to be clear. Not every member of the Royal Rota is engaged in a cover-up. Some of them are terrified. Look at what happened to Tom Sykes, booted out of the Royal Rota. He could have lost all of his livelihood. Luckily, he decided to set up the Royalist, and the rest is history. But some of them are scared, and some of them, without being horrible, Lady C, they're just not up to the job. They're not proper journalists, But look, you've been incredible this week. I cannot believe you're here having just had a major hip operation. I honestly didn't know that. I had no idea that you were going to be doing this from hospital this week, Lady C. So I'm so grateful. That is true commitment. I genuinely appreciate it. And how long before you're expected back at the castle? What's the recovery process from here?
Oh, maybe a little while.
Okay.
It's, it's
Okay.
they're judging it, but
Okay.
it's rather more complex than just an ordinary hip replacement. But it's much better, Dan, than it was the last
Oh, you're
time.
in such a better place than you were last time I saw you in hospital, without any doubt, without any doubt. But I hope the recovery goes really well, Lady C. And of course, we've spoken a lot about Lady Colin Campbell's very controversial episode of her show this week. You can go and watch it for yourself, as I did at the Lady Colin Campbell YouTube page. Lady C, thank you so much. Blessings for your recovery. So lovely to have you today. Thank you. And of course, if you do want to sign up to my Substack, and I guess actually the point of doing so is because of everything I've just talked about. You're not getting the full truth from the Royal Rota. You're not. You can't. They can't give you the full truth. But we can, and we can at least try, and we do try because we're independent, we're outside of the mainstream media, we're outside of the Royal Rota. So I would love you to subscribe at www.outspoken.live. And the bonus is the paid monthly and annual subscribers get full access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show with no advertising whatsoever, Monday to Friday. Thank you for your company. Thank you to Lady Colin Campbell, and have an amazing rest of the day.